Hello, everybody. Accureye here, and welcome back to another Accureye Talks video. And in today's Accureye Talks video, I thought we'd talk about, starting off our series on all of the weapons and the proper ways, at least in my opinions, to use each one of them. So, we're going to teach you all the weapons and my personal opinion and thought, and just showing you all the weapons so you can get an idea of what weapons are good, bad, and whatever. And today we're starting with the worst weapons in my personal opinion going forward right now, which are the Havoc and of course the the RE45, I think. No, the alternator, that's right. Sorry if I forgot. It's been a while since I record this video. But, we're starting with the alternator and the RE45. And I'm going to go ahead and go over all of the basic items, all of the, attachments and stuff, in my opinion about them. Now, we're going to start off with the basic no attachments. So you can see, as you can see, I'm ADSing, and of course, as you can see, ADS-wise, it's not exactly the greatest weapon to ADS with, especially when you're standing up. Like, ADS-wise, it's an okay weapon, it does good damage, but obviously, in my opinion, because of the spread and how it works, it's just not a great weapon. So as you can see here, I'm basically firing off full clip, and that's the spread. As you can see, that's the spread there. And of course, if we ADS it, you'll see here, we ADS it completely, and that's the spread. So, as you can see, it kind of goes in an upward spread. It has a pretty wide spread overall. And, I mean, in my personal opinion, it's just not that great for the effective use as far as, when you're firing it through ADS. Now, here we are with the alternator, and again, as you can see, alternator much more stable. And overall, it just has a little bit of a better stability, but it's a slow fire rate weapon. So as you can see, here we are hip firing it, and as you see here, we're just not seeing much hip fire. And of course, if we ADS it, as you can see, just like the Havoc, it kind of goes in an upward motion. So again, I'll show you the Havoc right beside it, and as you can see here, same motion. It basically has the same motion, except as you can probably tell, the alternator has less of a upward spiral and has less fire versus the Havoc, which has more upward spiral. And for those of you who don't know, the alternator is a dual barrel firing weapon. So, that's pretty much it for the basics. As you can see, I'm just not feeling it with these weapons, and I don't think they're overall the greatest. But here we go now, starting off with learning the attachments, and I'm going to show you all the basic attachments. We're starting off with basic level 1 attachments. So we're going to equip the extended energy mag, the barrel, a scope, which is the ×1 HCOG scope, and of course the standard stock. And as you can see, when we ADS it with the standard stock at level 1, and of course, a scope and the energy mag, not only is our energy mag, as you probably have seen, increased, but we have a little bit more stabilization. So again, we're going to go to a wall here, and I'll show you the upward pattern if we were to fire it normally. As you can see, it really spreads a lot more. As you probably have noticed, it really went up a lot more than it normally did. And then of course, if we ADS it, as you can see, at level 1, stabilization and of course extended energy mag and stuff, it's a lot less of a spread, and it goes upward less. So it's actually a little better when you look at it that way. Now we're going to show you the alternator, which of course, as it is, we'll get an extended light mag level 1, a barrel stabilizer level 1, and a extended or a standard stock at level 1. And to keep it consistent, I'm using the HCOG. And of course, as you can see, this is kind of where the redemption for the alternator comes into play. As you can see, with more extended energy or mags, and of course a little bit more of a stabilization, obviously we can take down most players with the alternator pretty well just by ADSing or even just hip firing it alone. So I mean, it's something that can be useful. So here we go again. I'm going to shoot it at the wall. As you can see, here's our alternator fire that we were using originally. So as you can see, that was the original Havoc alternate fire upward, and then here's the fire when you're using it, the alternator with the extended level 1 mag. As you can see, more bullets have happened and less spread has happened. And of course, as we move on to the upward one, as you can see, it went upward less. And of course, if we do it the same with the ADS on the Havoc as we were doing here, you can kind of see a side-by-side comparison. The Havoc, of course, spreads upward more than the actual alternator does. So it is something to consider when you're playing, with these weapons. Now, as far as scope goes, you can choose whatever scope you want. I have affinity, I like using the HCOG scope, but here we go with putting on level 2 items. So as it is, I'm going to put it on a level 2 standard stock and a level 2 extended mag. I'm going to use my favorite scope at the moment, which is the ×2 HCOG. And as it is, the ×2 HCOG is just a much more tight version and a much more magnified version. But here we go. I decided I wanted to test this at a distance to see how good it was at a distance. And as you can see, I missed most of my shots due to this spread. Due to the spread, I missed most of my shots. So it's not really that great in the current form with the way I've set it up to be a good long-range weapon. But as you can see, here we go with the hip fire again. And I mean, again, as expected, you have more bullets, and it still spreads upward less than it used to. So, I mean, again, that's something that you gotta consider. So here we go. I'm going to use the upward or the ADS. And again, as you can see, it spread a heck of a lot less than with ADS than it did upward than it did with level 1 and level 2. But, I mean, or level 1 and none at all. And no stock or anything at all. So here we go. Putting on level 2 extended light mag, the level 2 standard stock, and of course the level 2 barrel stabilizer, as well as our 2 times HCOG. And here I'm just kind of testing out the range of the alternator, just to kind of show you guys the range. And again, as you can see, you'll miss a lot of shots trying to fire the gun at range with this kind of, play style. So, yeah, I definitely prefer hip firing this gun more, and as you can see, we're going back to it, and, I'm kind of looking around for another wall to show you guys how it looks. And as you can see, the hip fire on the alternator, almost no hip fire at all. You can see it again. Here I do it again, just to kind of show you guys. And as you can see, there's almost no recoil at all with the level 2 extended or standard stock and standard barrel stabilizer. And of course, going forward, as again, here we are testing it again. I could show you guys the basic for the alternator. And as you can clearly tell, it's a lot less. I mean, obviously, it's a lot less alternator-wise, and there were a lot less bullets fired. But, as you can see, overall, there are more bullets in the wall, and, there's less spread than there was back when you were first getting, first with nothing on it at all. So, moving on, here we go, with another, which I believe is the final upgrade, which is the level 3. So here we are. We're going to put on an extended level 3 mag, a level 3 stock, and of course we're going to keep 2 times. Or I here show you the 3 times. Then this is where I really start to try and test to see if the Havoc does have any capability of being a long range weapon. And to my surprise, it really does. But it really can only become a long range weapon with single fire. So here I'm showing you guys the select fire, and as you can see, if you have a single fire weapon here, you can tell that this is a bit more ranged based now. So if you want to use this weapon as kind of like your long range weapon, or your in a sense sniper weapon, this is a good place to, this is a good way to utilize your sniper based weapons fire. And as you can see, on single fire shot, it charges up and then it does an unleashed powerful blast damage. Which, again, like I've said, is something that can be very, very good for, those of you who are ranged users. Or those of you who are like me, where you like having a somewhat long range weapon and and of course a short range, or a way to, return fire, or just in general fight somebody at mid to close range. But as you can see, at long range, I tried to test this at full auto, and as you probably have noticed, I missed a lot of my shots just on full auto. So obviously, definitely not the greatest long range weapon. I think the only redemption for the Havoc that makes it a good or decent long range weapon is, of course, the charge rifle feature. But yeah. With that being said, I'm going to show you guys the shot radius, because obviously, you guys need to know that obviously, as you can see, more bullets, more shots to be fired and more shots to be hit. But as you can see, just like before, still an upward spiral blast, just a longer upward spiral that you'd have control. And, of course, here I test out the single fire just to see if this thing leaves a mark at all. Which, to my surprise, I fired here. And then, to my surprise, it did leave a mark. As you can see, that's the blast of the single fire from the Havoc. But, yeah, let's move on to the final, upgrades for the Alternator, which is the level 3 upgrades. So, on the level 3 upgrades here, you're going to see me equip an extended light mag level 3, and extended standard stock level 3, and extended or a barrel stabilizer at level 3. Now, you're probably thinking, Accureye, why is there a level 4 one there? Well, allow me to get you into that one. But overall, I will say that the level 4 barrel stocks just don't have the same capability, nor are they really, in my opinion, worth the upgrade of grabbing. Maybe they have a slight upgrade, but it's not, something that's just like, you can run home to mom and say, hey mom, look, I got one of the best guns in the game because of this level 4 barrel mod. It's not something that you're going to run home to mama with. But anyway, as you can see, at level 3, the Alternator really has the best stability. It has the best, overall, game to work with. And, in general, if you're looking for something that has stability and, of course, the hip fire, then the Alternator is definitely your thing. As you can see, the Alternator almost did not spread at all. And here you'll see me take off the extended level 3 mag just to kind of show you the difference. As y'all see, no difference really at all. I mean, look at it side by side. You can barely tell any difference. So yeah. But anyway, moving on. Here we go with the ADS, and as it is, I'm just trying to fire all the bullets just to see how they spread. They don't spread upward that much. They're just a slight spread upward. And here we go with the Havoc, which again, like before, showing you guys the difference. The ADS, of course, is much more thin. But, of course, as you can see, the upward trail went up a lot more than it should have. But anyway, yeah, so, oh man, so yeah. That's pretty much it. Now, here we go with showing you the last upgrade on the Havoc. Let's say that for some reason you just decide you do not want to be a sniper at all, or you don't want to have a ranged grace weapon. Well, no worries. Overall, Apex Legends was prepared for this, and they created the turbocharger. So the turbocharger is for those of you Vendetta players. Those of you who like playing in a sense where you're playing aggressive. And, that's the style that I like to play, but obviously, because of how hard it is to find a turbocharger, honestly, I just do not use the Havoc, nor do I use the Devotion, because, again, it's just so hard to find a turbocharger that, can do it, or it's just so hard to find a turbocharger so that you can do that. But as you can see, Havoc not very bad in ranged combat if you're looking to maybe try ranged combat with it. But obviously, overall, the upgrade for the turbocharger is it makes it a heck of a lot faster. So anyway, moving on. Here's the alternator without the turbocharger. As you can see, or the devotion, without the turbocharger. But as you can see, without the turbocharger, it took a lot longer to wind up, even though the spread rate was the same. Versus with the turbocharger, the charge up is almost not seen at all. And that's one of the main things that make oh man, sorry about that. But that's one of the main reasons why I think that's the only redemption for the Havoc is if you have the select fire or the turbocharger. Now, here we go with a level 4 barrel mod on the alternator. And as you can see, with the alternator at level 4, the barrel mod alternator at level 4, it doesn't really have much of a difference. I don't think it's really that different. I think it's basically just a overpowered barrel mod that doesn't seem to have a significant difference when it comes to stabilization. I mean, as you can see, I take down that guy almost like it's no tomorrow. But, yeah, so, anyway, it is something that does happen. But, overall, when you do have full equip like I do here, you can really see how the alternator is truly a hip-fire weapon. And, I mean, that's what I would consider the alternator and the Havoc. They're both considerably hip-fire weapons. Now, don't get me wrong, the Havoc can become an ADS weapon if you have the select fire. But if you don't have the select fire, then the Havoc is pretty much your go-to light machine gun that you just, have to rely on. So as you can see there, I'm showing you guys the barrel stabilization. And, I mean, overall, I shoot this thing twice. Once with a level 3, once with a level 4. And as you can see, the difference is not that much. So, overall, I think that unless you're lucky enough to find a level 4 barrel stabilizer, don't worry about it. Just try to get a level 2 if you're playing with the alternator. As you can see, less spread and more hits on the center of whatever the target was I wanted to hit. Again, as you can see, I did the same twice just to show you that the barrel stabilizer level 3 is not any different from the barrel stabilizer level 4. And you can see that there's not really any big difference. It's just the perk that comes with the new gold map. So, it's just the way it goes. Anyway, as you can see, the alternator is, in my classification, a hip-fire only weapon. Now, I do have a little bit of a grade and scale, which I will be explaining on this video, which we're going to call this the Accureye scale, in a way, which is how I judge weapons. And with that being said, let's go ahead and tell you guys how I judge my weapons and what I do to come up with the judgment for each weapon. As you can see, let's talk about the Havoc, because the Havoc is the first weapon that or the current weapon that I have in my hand. But the Havoc, as far as I care to tell you, is a hip-fire only weapon. It's a mid to close range weapon in the game. I do not know why, if you live in America, I don't know why the president has not, basically stooped up on them, but, that's just the way it goes. Anyway, my Havoc's rating scale is, how versatile is it? Now, what is versatility? For me, versatility is how can I use it? Can I use it in ADS, and can I also use it in hipfire? Well, for the Havoc, I'd give versatility about a 4. Now, I give this a 4 because it's not very versatile, and I feel that it's more of a hipfire only weapon. With that being said, let's talk about the overall damage. I think the damage is pretty good. It's pretty decent, given that you can hit every shot. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Is it a worthwhile weapon to keep on hand? It depends on who you are. If you're a person who likes the Havoc and you don't care about the charge up time or anything like that, then the Havoc may be a perfect weapon for you. But overall, the Havoc, I give the damage quality about 5 star. About 5 overall out of 10. 5 out of 10 overall. Because it's actually pretty decent damage, and it actually is doing pretty good. Now, what about ease of use? Well, ease of use, the Havoc may not be the easiest weapon to use. You may not be able to utilize or use the Havoc as much as you would. And that I give it overall about a 2.5 score out of 10. And then finally, it comes down to my pick. Personally, do I want to use it? Absolutely not. My personal pick is I absolutely do not want to use it. So with that being said, it's probably around a 9 or so. And yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the the score for the alternator. Alternator overall, with all it being said, I would say it's about a solid 5. It's a mid-range weapon. It's a decent weapon, but overall, it's just one of the worst weapons in my opinion. But with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully this video has helped you learn a little bit more about the Havoc and the alternator. And I am live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Accureye. I am live on Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday for sure for about 3 to 4 hours, sometimes 4 to 5. And lately I've also been live on Monday and Tuesday for about 2 to 3 hours. But yeah, if you like this video, you know what to do. Hit the like button, get subscribed, hit the bell notification because I know you want to know when my next video drops next. Thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching this video. And until the next one, everybody, this is Accureye signing out and saying farewell, everyone.